Hello and welcome to Several Signatures with Brendan. I'll attempt to read through several signatures worth of the following works: the Iliad, Catholic Bible, King James Bible, Quran, Canterbury Tales, Sherlock Holmes, and Conan the Barbarian stories. So first up is back to the Iliad. So last time we left off with Achilles' mum gone to Zeus, asking him to help, and Zeus caved in, said okay, and then as he spoke, Conan bowed his black brows, the Lord's ambrosial locks swung forward from his immortal head, and high Olympus quaked. So they had talked and parted. Thetis dived from radiant Olympus into the deep sea, and Zeus entered his own hall. All the gods rose up from their seats to receive their father. Not one of them dared to sit still, but all rose up to greet him. So he took his seat upon his throne. But Hera had seen. She knew there had been a confabulation and a visit from Silverfoot Thetis, the daughter of the old man of the sea. She lost no time in scolding at Zeus Cronion. "Who is it this time?" she began. "Who has been confabulating with you now, you deceiver? You always like to go behind my back and make secret plans and lay down the law. You never would tell me a word of your notions if you could help it." The father of men and gods made answer, "My dear Hera, do not expect to know everything I say. You must not expect as much as that. Although you are my wife, whatever is proper for you to hear, you shall be the first to hear before any in heaven or earth. But when I choose to consider things by myself, do not be inquisitive and ask questions about everything." Queen Hera said at once, opening her fine eyes, "Oh, you dreadful creature, what a thing to say! I inquisitive? I ask you questions? I never did such a thing in my life. I just leave you alone, and you deceive whatever you choose. But I am dreadfully afraid this time. I can't put it out of my mind, that you may be cajoled by Silverfoot Thetis, that daughter of the old man of the sea. Early this morning she was kneeling and clasping your knees. I suppose you bowed your head and promised faithfully to honour Achilles and kill crowds on the battlefield." Zeus, cloud gatherer, answered, "You are a strange creature, always supposing, always watching me, but you shall gain nothing by it. You will only make me dislike you more, and that will only be more unpleasant for you. If this is as you say, it must be my pleasure. Silence, please, and sit down, and do what I tell you. All the gods in Olympus will not help you if I come near and lay my heavy hands upon you." This frightened the queen. She sat down in silence and took herself in hand, but the other gods were disturbed, and Hephaestus, the master craftsman, was the first to speak. He took his mother's side and said, "Bother it all. It is really too bad, if you two quarrel like this about mortals, and make a brawl among the gods. What's the pleasure in good fare with bad manners everywhere? My advice to my mother is this, and she knows it is good. Give way to dear Father Zeus, and don't let Father scold any more and spoil our breakfast. What if Olympian flashlighting choose to knock us out of our seats? He is much stronger than we are. Come now, speak him fair and gentle. Olympian will be kind in 1 minute." Then he jumped up and put the double cup in her hand, saying, "Be patient, mother dear. Bear it patiently, although it hurts. I love you. I don't want to see you beaten before my eyes. I shall not be able to help you then, however sorry I am, for Olympian is hard to tackle. Once before I tried to help you, and he caught me by the leg and threw me from the threshold of heaven. All day long I fell, and at sunset down I came in Lemnos, with very little breath left in my body. There I fell, and the Cynthians looked after me." Queen Hera smiled at this, and smiling, received the cup from her son's hand. Then he drew sweet nectar from the bowl, and carried it to all the gods, moving round right ways. Laughter unquenchable rose among the blessed gods when they saw Hephaestus, butler, puffing about the hall. So they feasted all day until sunset, and there was no lack, plenty to eat and drink, a splendid harp with Apollo to play it, and the muses singing turn by turn in their lovely voices. But when the bright light of the sun sank down, they went each to his room for sleep, for the famous Crookshank, Hephaestus, had built them each a chamber by his clever skill, and Zeus Olympian, Flash Lightning, went to his own bed, where he used to sleep sound when slumber came upon him. Into that bed he climbed and slept, with Queen Hera by his side. There's book 2. How a dream came with a message from Zeus, and how the Achaeans debated in their camp. The names and numbers of the two hosts. All others, both gods and men, slept the whole night long, but Zeus could not sleep, for he was pondering how he could destroy crowds of men on the battlefield and cover Achilles with glory. It seemed to be the best plan to send a bad dream to King Agamemnon, so he called one and spoke plainly and to the point. Away, bad dream, go to the Achaean camp, enter the hut of King Agamemnon, and tell him exactly what I say. Bid him arm the Achaeans with all haste, for now he may take the city of Troy. The Olympians are no longer divided. Hera has now bent them all by her entreaties, and troubles hang over the Trojans. Away went the dream. Quickly he flew to the camp and made his way to King Agamemnon's hut, where he found the king deep in blissful sleep. The dream leaned over his head in the shape of Nestor Nelades, whom Agamemnon respected most of all the elders, and spoke in these words. You are asleep, O son of Atreus, the lord of many horses. Now mastermind ought to sleep the whole night long, when his cares are so many and nations are in his charge. Now hear me quickly. I am a messenger from Zeus, who far away cares for you and pities you. He bids you arm the Achaeans with all haste, for now you may take the city of Troy. The Olympians are no longer divided, since Hera has bent them all by her prayers, and troubles hang over the Trojans from Zeus. Be sure to keep this in your memory, and forget not when honey-hearted sleep shall leave you. Then the dream departed, and left him there, believing what was destined not to be done, for he thought he would take Priam's town on that day. Foolish man, he knew not what Zeus meant to do, for Zeus was yet to bring more sorrow and groaning upon Trojans and Danaans, both before the war should end. The king awoke with the divine voice echoing about him. He sat upright and slipped into his fine soft tunic, and threw a wide cloak about him. Next he laced his boots and slung the silver-studded sword over his shoulders. Then he took up the sceptre of his fathers, which had been handed down from generation to generation, and holding this, he made his way among the ships. By this time dawn had come to high Olympus, proclaiming to Zeus and the gods that it was light. And the king commanded his heralds to use their good lungs and summon the people to meeting. They cried their summons, and the people came quickly. But first the king held a council of the elders beside the ship of Nestor, and when these were gathered, he proposed a clever plan. We'll hear about the clever plan next time. Thanks for listening. Nighty-night. Next, the Catholic Bible. We finished Genesis 24 last time. Abraham's first wife, Sarah, passed away. His, butler, his main helper, Alfred. If Abraham was Batman, he went and got his brother's I don't know, daughter or niece or something to become his son Isaac's betrothed wife. And they headed back. And Rebecca saw Isaac. And he led her into the tent of Sarah his mother, and he accepted her as wife. And he loved her so much that it tempted the sorrow which befell him at his mother's death. So then, Genesis 25. In truth, Abraham took another wife, named Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. Likewise, Jokshan conceived Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Dedan were Ashurim and Letushim and Leumim. And truly from Midian was born Ifha and Epher and Hanok and Ibidah and Eldar. All these were the sons of Keturah. And Abraham gave everything that he possessed to Isaac. But to the sons of the concubines he gave generous gifts, and he separated them from his son Isaac, while he still lived toward the eastern region. Now the days of Abraham's life were 175 years, and declining. He died in a good old age, and at an advanced stage of life, and full of days. And he was gathered to his people, and his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the double cave, which was situated in the field of Ephron, of the son of Zohar the Hittite, across from the region of Mamre, which he had bought for the sons of Heth. There he was buried, and with his wife Sarah. And after his passing, God blessed his son Isaac, who lived near the well named of the one who lives and who sees. These are the generations of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's servant, bore to him. And these are the names of his sons, according to their language and generations. The firstborn of Ishmael was Nebaioth, then Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam. Likewise, Mishma, and Dumah, and Massa, Hadad, and Timah, and Jetur, and Naphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names throughout their fortresses and towns, the 12 princes of their tribes. And the years of the life of Ishmael that passed were 137, and declining he died and was placed with his people. Now he had lived from Havilah as far as Shur, which overlooks Egypt as it approaches the Assyrians. He passed away in the sight of all his brothers. Likewise, these are the generations of Isaac, the son of Abraham. Abraham conceived Isaac, who, when he was 40 years old, took Rebekah, the sister of Laban, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian from Mesopotamia, as a wife. And Isaac beseeched the Lord on behalf of his wife, because she was barren. And he heard him, and he gave conception to Rebekah. But the little ones struggled in her womb. So she said, If it was to be so with me, what needed was there to conceive? And she went to consult the Lord. And responding, he said, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples will be divided out of your womb. And one people will overcome the other people, and the elder will serve the younger. Now the time had arrived to give birth, and behold, twins were discovered in her womb. He who departed first was red, and entirely hairy like a pelt, and his name was called Esau. At once the other departed, and he held his brother's foot in his hand, and because of this he was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when the little ones were born to him, and as adults Esau became a knowledgeable hunter and a man of agriculture, but Jacob, a simple man, dwelled in tents. A bit of a bum. Isaac was fond of Esau because he was fed from his hunting, and Rebekah loved Jacob. Then Jacob boiled a small meal. Esau, when he arrived, weary from the field, said to him, "Give me this red stew, for I am very tired." For this reason his name was called Edom. Jacob said to him, "Sell me your right of the firstborn." He answered, "Lo, I am dying. What will the right of the firstborn provide for me?" Jacob said, "So then, swear to me." Esau swore to him, and he sold his right of the firstborn. And so, taking bread and the food of lentils, he ate and he drank, and he went away, giving little weight to having sold the right of the firstborn. Genesis 26. Then, when a famine arose over the land, after that barrenness which had happened in the days of Abraham, Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Palestinians, in Gerar. And the Lord appeared to him, and he said, "Do not descend into Egypt, but rest in the land that I will tell you, and sojourn in it. And I will be with you, and I will bless you. For to you and to your offspring I will give all these regions, completing the oath that I promised to Abraham your father. And I will multiply your offspring like the stars of heaven, and I will give to your posterity all these regions, and in your offspring all the nations of the earth will be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my precepts and commandments, and observed the ceremonies and the laws." And so Isaac remained in Gerar. And when he was questioned by the men of that place about his wife, he answered, "She is my sister." So he did the same thing. It's like a family tradition. For he was afraid to confess her to be his mate, thinking that perhaps they would put him to death because of her beauty. And when very many days had passed, and he had remained in the same place, Abimelech, the king of the Palestinians, gazing through a window, saw him being playful with Rebekah, his wife, and summoning him, he said, "It is clear that she is your wife. Why did you falsely claim her to be your sister?" He answered, "I was afraid lest I might die because of her." And Abimelech said, "Why have you burdened us? Someone from the people could have lain with your wife, and you would have brought a great sin upon us." And he instructed all the people, saying, "Whoever will touch the wife of this man will die a death." Then Isaac sowed in that land, and he found in that same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him, and the man was enriched, and he continued prospering as well as increasing until he became very great. Likewise, he had possessions of sheep and of herds, and a very large family. Because of this, the Palestinians envied him. So at that time they obstructed all the wells that the servants of his father Abraham had dug, filling them with soil. It reached a point where Abimelech himself said to Isaac, "Move away from us, for you have become very much more powerful than we." And departing, he then went toward the torrent of Gerar, and he dwelt there. Again he dug up other wells. Again he dug up other wells, which the servants of his father Abraham had dug, and which, after his death, the Philistines had formerly obstructed. And he called them by the same names that his father had called them before, and then dug in the torrent, and they found living water. But in that place also the shepherds of Gerar
argued against the shepherds of Isaac by saying, "It is our water." For this reason he called the name of the well, because of what had happened, calumny. Then they dug up yet another one, and over that one also they fought, and he called it enmity. Advancing from there, he dug another well, over which they did not contend, and so he called its name Latitude, saying, "Now the Lord has expanded us and caused us to increase across the land." Then he ascended from that place into Beersheba, where the Lord appeared to him on the same night, saying, "I am the Lord of Abraham your father. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you, and I will multiply your offspring because of my servant Abraham." And so he built an altar there, and he invoked the name of the Lord. And he stretched out his tent, and he instructed his servants to dig a well. When Abimelech and Arzath, his friend, and Phicol, the leader of the military, had arrived from Gerar to that place, Isaac said to them, "Why have you come to me, a man whom you hate, and whom you have expelled from among you?" And they responded, "We saw that the Lord is with you, and therefore we said, let there be an oath between us, and let us initiate a pact, so that you may not do us any kind of harm, just as we have touched nothing of yours, and have not caused any injury to you. But with peace we released you, augmented by the blessing of the Lord." Therefore he made them a feast, and after the food and drink, arising in the morning, they swore to one another, and Isaac sent them away peacefully to their own place. Then behold, on the same day the servants of Isaac came, reporting to him about a well which they had dug, and saying, "We have found water." Therefore he called it Abundance, and the name of the city was established as Beersheba, even to the present day. In truth, at 40 years of age, Esau took wives, Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon, of the same place, and they both offended the mind of Isaac and Rebekah. Racist. Genesis 27. Now Isaac was old, and his eyes were cloudy, and so he was not able to see. And he called his elder son Esau, and he said to him, "My son," and he responded, "Here I am." His father said to him, "You see that I am old, and I do not know the day of my death. Take your weapons, the quiver and the bow, and go out. And when you have taken something by hunting, make from it a small meal for me, just as you know I like, and bring it, so that I may eat, and my soul may bless you before I die." And when Rebekah had heard this, and he had gone out into the field to fulfill his father's order, she said to her son Jacob, "I heard your father speaking with your brother Esau, and saying to him, 'Bring to me from your hunting, and make me foods, so that I may eat and bless you in the sight of the Lord before I die. Therefore now, my son, agree to my counsel, and go straight to the flock, and bring me 2 of the best young goats, so that from them I may make meat for your father, such as he willingly eats. Then, when you have brought these in, and he has eaten, he may bless you before he dies." He answered her, "You know that my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am smooth. If my father should lay hands on me and perceive it, I am afraid lest he think me willing to mock him, and I will bring a curse upon myself instead of a blessing. This is so evil." And his mother said to him, "Let this curse be upon me, my son. Yet listen to my voice, and go directly to bring what I said." He went out, and he brought, and he gave to his mother. She prepared the meats, just as she knew his father liked, and she clothed him with the very fine garments of Esau, which he had at home with her. And she encircled his hands with little pelts from the young goats, and she covered his bare neck. She gave him the small meal. She handed him the bread that she had baked. When he had carried these in, he said, "My father?" And he answered, "I'm listening. Who are you, my son?" And Jacob said, "I'm Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you instructed me. Arise, sit and eat from my hunting, so that your soul may be blessed." And again Isaac said to his son, "How were you able to find it so quickly, my son?" He answered, "It was the will of God, so that what I sought met with me quickly." And Isaac said, "Come here, so that I may touch you, my son, and may prove whether you are my son Esau or not." He approached his father, and when he had felt him, Isaac said, "The voice indeed is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." And he did not recognize him, because his hairy hands made him seem similar to the elder one. Therefore, blessing him, he said, "Are you my son Esau?" He answered, "I am." So that's not a covenant. It's like, it doesn't hold up in law. Signing someone else's name still goes to the other guy. But he said, well, and the other one was like, "Oh, well, you gave me your right when you gave me a bowl of soup." It's like, "Oh, bring me the foods from your hunting, my son, so that my soul may bless you." And when he had eaten what was offered, he also brought forth wine for him. And after he finished it, he said to him, "Come to me and give me a kiss, my son." He answered and kissed him, and immediately he received the fragrance of his garments. And so, blessing him, he said, "Behold, the smell of my son is like the smell of a plentiful field, which the Lord has blessed. May God give to you from the dew of heaven and from the fatness of the earth an abundance of grain and wine. And may the people serve you, and may the tribes reverence you. May you be the Lord of your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down before you. Whoever curses you, may he be cursed, and whoever blesses you, may he be filled with blessings." Scarcely had Isaac completed his words, and Jacob departed, when Esau arrived. And he brought his father's food, cooked from his hunting, saying, "Arise, my father, and eat from your son's hunting, so that your soul may bless me." And Isaac said to him, "But who are you?" And he answered, "I am your firstborn, son Esau." Isaac became frightened and very astonished, and wondering beyond what can be believed, he said, "Then who is he that a while ago brought me the prey from his hunting, from which I ate before you arrived? And I blessed him, and he will be blessed." Esau, having heard his father's words, roared out with a great outcry, and being confounded, he said, "But bless me also, my father." And he said, "Your twin came deceitfully, and he received your blessing." But he responded, "Justly is his name called Jacob, for he was supplanted me yet another time. My birthright he took away before, and now this second time he has stolen my blessing." And again he said to his father, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me also?" Isaac answered, "I have appointed him as your..." It just doesn't make sense. "And I have subjugated all his brothers as his servants. I have reinforced him with grain and wine. And after this, my son, what more shall I do for you?" And Esau said to him, "Have you only one blessing, father? I beg you, bless me also." And when he wept with a loud wail, Isaac was moved, and he said to him, "In the fatness of the earth and in the dew of the heavens from above will your blessing be. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But the time will arrive when you will shake off and release his yoke from your neck." Therefore Esau always hated Jacob for the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And he said in his heart, "The days will arrive for the mourning of my father, and I will kill my brother Jacob." These things were reported to Rebekah, and sending and calling for her son Jacob, she said to him, "Behold, your brother Esau is threatening to kill you. Therefore, now my son, listen to my voice. Rise up and flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and you will dwell with him for a few days, until the fury of your brother subsides, and his indignation, there we go, ceases, and he forgets the things that you have done to him. After this, I will send for you and bring you from there to here. Why should I be bereaved of both my sons in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob accepts a wife from the stock of this land, I would not be willing to live. And so Isaac called for Jacob, and he blessed him, and he instructed him, saying, Do not be willing to accept a mate from the family of Canaan, but go and journey to Mesopotamia of Syria, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and there accept for your wife another ancestral from the daughters of Laban, your maternal uncle. And may God Almighty bless you, and may he cause you to increase and also to multiply, so that you may be influential among the people. And may he give the blessings of Abraham to you and to your offspring after you, so that you may possess the land of your sojourning, which he promised to your grandfather. And when Isaac had dismissed him, setting out, he went to Mesopotamia of Syria, to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother to Rebekah, his mother. But Esau, seeing that his father had blessed Jacob, and had sent him into Mesopotamia of Syria, to take a wife from there, and that, after the blessing, he had instructed him, saying, You shall not accept a wife from the daughters of Canaan, and that Jacob, obeying his parents, had gone into Syria, having evidence also that his father did not look with favour upon the daughters of Canaan, he went to Ishmael, and he took as a wife, beside those he had before, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. So, Mathalah, the daughter of Ishmael. So this is his... So he's got a cousin as well. But Jacob's is a second cousin, isn't it? The sister of Nebaioth. Meanwhile, Jacob, having departed from Beersheba, continued on to Haran. And when he had arrived at a certain place where he would rest after the setting of the sun, he took some of the stones that lay there, and placing them under his head, he slept in the same place. And he saw in his sleep a ladder standing upon the earth, with its top touching heaven. Also the angels of God descended, and descending by it, and the Lord leaning upon the ladder, saying to him, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land in which you sleep I will give to you and to your offspring, and your offspring will be like the dust of the earth. You will spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the meridian. And in you and in your offspring all the tribes of the earth shall be blessed. But the serpent eats the dirt. So that's a bit weird. North and to the meridian. And in you and in your offspring all the tribes of the earth shall be blessed. And I will be your guardian wherever you will journey, and I will bring you back into this land. Neither will I dismiss you until I have accomplished all that I have said. And when Jacob had awakened from sleep, he said, Truly, the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And being terrified, he said, How terrible this place is! This is nothing other than the house of God and the gateway of heaven. What? Therefore Jacob, arising in the morning, took the stone which he had placed under his head, and he set it up as a monument, pouring oil over it, and he called the name of the city Bethel, which before was called Luz. And then he made a vow, saying, "If God will be with me, and will guard me along the way by which I walk, and will give me bread to eat and clothing to wear, and if I will return prosperously to my father's house, then the Lord will be my God, and this stone which I have set up as a monument will be called the house of God, and from all the things that you will give to me, I will offer tithes to you." Genesis 29. And so Jacob, setting out, arrived in the eastern land, and he saw a well in a field, and also 3 flocks of sheep reclining near it, for the animals were watered from it, and its mouth was closed with a great stone. And the custom was, when all the sheep were gathered together, to roll away the stone, and when the flocks had been refreshed, they placed it over the mouth of the well again. And he said to the shepherds, "Brothers, where are you from?" And they answered, "From Haran." And questioning them, he said, "Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor?" They said, "We know him." He said, "Is he well? Is he very well?" They said, "And behold, his daughter Rachel approaches with his flock." And Jacob said, "There is still much daylight remaining, and it is not time to return the flocks to the sheepfold. Give the sheep to drink first, and then lead them back to pasture." They responded, "We cannot until all the animals are gathered together, and we remove the stone from the mouth of the well, so that we may water the flocks." They were still speaking, and behold, Rachel arrived with her father's sheep, for she pastured the flock. When Jacob had seen her, and he realized that she was his maternal first cousin, and that these were the sheep of his uncle Laban, he removed the stone which closed the well, and having watered the flock, he kissed her. "What?" And lifting up his voice, he wept. And he revealed to her that he was a brother of her father, and the son of Rebekah. What? Cousin. And so hurrying, she announced it to her father. And when he had heard that Jacob, his sister's son, had arrived, he ran to meet him, and embracing him and kissing him heartily, lots of kisses, he brought him into his house. But when he had heard the reasons for his journey, and he responded, "You're my bone and my flesh," and after the days of 1 month were completed, he said to him, "Though you are my brother, will you serve me for nothing? Tell me what wages you would accept." In truth, he had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and truly the younger was called Rachel. But while Leah was bleary-eyed, Rachel had an elegant appearance, and was attractive to behold. And Jacob, loving her, said, "I will serve you for 7 years for your younger daughter, Rachel." Laban responded, "It is better that I give her to you than to another man. Remain with me." Therefore Jacob served for 7 years for Rachel, and these seemed like only a few days, because of the greatness of love. And he said to Laban, Give my wife to me, for now the time has been fulfilled, so that I may go in to her." Oh, that's a bit rude. And he's saying this to her dad. And it's just really hillbilly kind of talk. And he, having called a great crowd of his friends to the feast, agreed to the marriage. And at night he brought in his daughter Leah to him, giving his daughter a handmaid named Zilpah. After Jacob had gone in to her according to custom, when morning had arrived, he saw Leah, and he said to his father-in-law, "What is it that you intended to do? Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why have you deceived me?" Laban responded, "It is not the practice in this place to give the younger in marriage first. Complete a week of days with this mating, and then I will give this one to you also, for the service that you will provide to me for another 7 years." He agreed to his pleading, and after the week had passed, he took Rachel as his wife. To her the father had given Bilhah as her servant, and having at last obtained the marriage he desired, he preferred the love of the latter before the former, and he served with him another 7 years. But the Lord, seeing that he despised Leah, opened her womb, but her sister remained barren. Having conceived, she gave birth to a son, and she called his name Reuben, saying, "The Lord saw my humiliation. Now my husband will love me." And again she conceived and bore a son. And she said, "Because the Lord heard that I was treated with contempt, he has also given this one to me." And she called his name Simon. And she conceived a third time, and she gave birth to another son. And she said, "Now likewise my husband will unite with me, because I have borne him 3 sons." Because of this she called his name Levi. A fourth time she conceived and bore a son, and she said, "Only now will I confess to the Lord." And for this reason she called him Judah, and she ceased from childbearing. And that'll be it for tonight. Bye-bye.
Hello. Next on to the King James Bible. Same sort of thing. Chapter 25 of Genesis. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Jokshan begat Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanok, and Abidah, and Aldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward unto the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 160 years. Then Abraham gave up the ghost, and died in a good old age, an old man, and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohan, the Hittite, which is before Mamre. Don't know if you can get PugCam again. I'll be able to get this set up. Ooh. There we go. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass, after the death of Abraham, that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well Lahai Roi. Can't do it, could you? It's difficult. What happens if I move it back there? There we go. See a little cutie. You're a good girl. Now these are the generations of Ishmael. Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. Coming up here now. cheeky baby. I'll put that there. That didn't work, did it? Terrible camera work. I'll never get a job as a cameraman. There we go. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare under Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebuchadnezzar, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma. You know you're on camera, don't you? Oh, you get motion sickness. Maybe there. First names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to their generations. Oh, it's so temperamental, isn't it? The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebuchadnezzar, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Dumah, and Massa, Hadar, and Temar, Juter, Naphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years, and he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is, before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian, of Padan Aram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the child struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins to her womb. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. So I think the Catholic one said Esau was a farmer. I guess that's of the field, probably means the same thing. And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. So basically, he held him. He wasn't going to feed his brother let him die, otherwise he has to give up the birthright. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So in the Catholic one, it's more Esau's more flippant, but in the King James, it's like more neutral. Okay. It's not too bad. It's a little bit watery. Oh, that's a bit yucky. I'm going to tell you. How was this one? We got that good. Okay, yes, good girl. Good girl. Where were we, Poochie? Chapter 26. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt into Gerar. So already there it's kind of stating laws. So this is before Moses made his own legal system. And Isaac dwelt into Gerar. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, She is my sister. For he feared to say, She is my wife, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at a window, and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting within Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac, and said, Behold, of a surety she is thy wife, and how saidest thou, She is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, Because I said, Lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, What is this thou hast done unto us? For the people might lightly have lain with thy wife. And thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, He that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. This repeating of the wife as a sister, it kind of reminds me of the Slovak fairy tales. They have a similar sort of structure where they repeat the same story 3 times, kind of thing. Just slightly tweaking it each time. Anyway. Then Isaac sowed in the land, and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great, and went forward, and grew unto he became very great. For he had possession of flocks, and possession of herds, and great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him, for all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the land in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence, and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father. For the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. And he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley, and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they digged another well, and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence, and digged another well, and for that they strove not. And he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, For now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went up from thence to Beersheba. And the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he builded an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants digged a well. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Pichol, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, Wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, We saw certainly that the Lord was with thee. And we said, so they're saying, hey, we saw God. These are the Philistines. Again, this is multiple authors. Cutie. Oh, here's a big yawn. Tired. We certainly saw that Lord was with thee, and we said, Let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink, and they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware one to another, and Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, We have found water. Betimes. That's a cool word. It's half a poochie. How about there? Is it gonna fall off? No. What was it called? Where was that word? In the morning. Betimes. Betimes, in good time, early, once in a while, on occasion, quickly, soon. It's just early. Betimes. Why is that not working? What's happening, Poochie? There we go. and he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mind unto Isaac and to Rebekah. Little digger. Stop digging the chair. You're not a wombat, are you? Are you a wombat? Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mind unto Isaac and to Rebekah. Chapter 27. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here I am. Here am I mean. And he said, Behold now, I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savoury meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the fields to hunt for venison, and to bring it. Well, that's a little bit different. Because isn't that deer? Venison refers primarily to deer meat. Venison can be used to refer to any part of the animal, as long as it is edible, including the internal organs. Venison, much like beef or pork, is categorized into specific cuts. Because in the other one, the Catholic one, there's not this bit that's afterwards, because it's saying, where was it? And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savoury meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats. So can goat be classified as venison? Question mark. Venison originally described meat of any game animal killed by hunting, and was applied to any animal from the families true deer, rabbits and hares, wild boar, goats and ibex. Okay. So it is correct in Old English to say just venison means any animal you hunt. The more you know. So she said, Go the kids of the goats, and I will make them savoury meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will fill me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver. So, did he normally feel his sons after he went blind to make sure he was talking to? No, because afterwards he was saying he knows the voices of them. And I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. So it's like, is that a curse from his father? Not from God? There's a distinction in faith here. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice. Only me be thy curse. Upon me be thy curse. So you better do as I say or I'll curse you. So that's the mum saying that. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savoury meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son. Raiment. What is raiment? All these new words. Clothing, garments. Clothing in general, vesture, garments, usually singular in form. Images. I don't think Jacob put on a dress. So where were we? Put on the clothes, and she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave... That's a bit... Maybe he's lost his sense of smell as well. Because it's going to be all bloody, isn't it? And yucky. I don't know. I've never skinned an animal before. I don't know this stuff. And she gave the savoury meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hands of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, and he said, Because the Lord thy God brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. So he had goat hair. Here is a goat. Esau was a goat man. So is that some sort of racist thing? Anyway. He's a bit hairy. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him, and he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near me to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. I guess it's because it's like it's a religious sacrifice. The other ones are like, it's like a covenant, isn't it? Covenant religious sacrifice between a god and a person, but this one's between a father and a son. So it's kind of a different, it's like a transition that the people are copying what God has done to a person. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore God give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. So that's kind of tying God into this as well. So it's like a trio covenant. But God hasn't said anything. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that hath cursed thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee. So the mum didn't curse him, but she did threaten him. So I guess she's off the hook. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting, and he also had made savoury meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. Da, da, da. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison, and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved the blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob, because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. It's like half a blessing, because he still used Esau's name, but he was physically there, I guess. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, so this isn't a curse, this is a threat again. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she went and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau is touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life, because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? Chapter 29. And Isaac called Jacob, and blessed him, and charged him, and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people, and give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. Jacob's. Oh yeah. Well, that's different. They're putting Jacob before Esau in that sentence. Didn't have that before. So it's kind of a switch in power, maybe they're trying to say subtly. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, and sent him away to Padan Aram, to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan, and that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Padan Aram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. And Jacob went out from Beersheba, and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place, and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place, and put them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The name of that city. Whoops, not. I'm joining wrong sentences here. And behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereupon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth. And thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So this is kind of ownership. Ownership of land is at least, what's this one? I can't remember. 5,000 5000 BC, something like that. I don't have it. I'm just thinking the Aboriginal culture where there's not that ownership of, you're a part of the land, but this is like the land's dirt to be used and abused. So they keep on saying droughts and there's too many people and they have to keep on splitting off and going to other places because there's just too many mouths to feed. Making too many babies. So where was the north, south, east and west? And be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land. For I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning, and took the stone that he had put for his pillows, and set it up for a pillar, and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel. But the name of that city was called Luz at first. Just ignored the name. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. What? Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on. So he's like ordering God, so that I come. I guess that's kind of like, when people are desperate, they're like, oh, if God saves me, then I'll be a good follower of God, maybe. So that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. So even at this point, he's wavering in faith. And this stone, which I have set for a pillar, shall be God's house. So I don't know, is this like him staying, this is a symbolic place for religion? Set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the 10th unto thee. Then Jacob went on his journey. It's chapter 29. And Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in his place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, "We cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep." And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. What? Maybe it's mother brothers, because that's a bit rude, saying the mother's brothers are sheep. That Jacob went near, or the mother's, no, because, anyway, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. His mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel. Maybe they just had a different way of stating association in whatever this is, Middle English. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, "Surely thou art my bone and my flesh." And he abode with him the space of a month. It's a bit more than a few days. And Laban said unto Jacob, "Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be?" And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favoured. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, "I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter." And Laban said, "It is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me." So this is like, better to have incest than not. It's like, I don't know, it's a bit weird sentence. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. And Jacob said unto Laban, "Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her." And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast. This is not betrothed. So again, maybe this betrothal was a different kind of, or just wife was just fine. Or they just simplified it, I don't know. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening, that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him. And he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for a handmaid. And Laban gave unto his daughter. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. Just the kind of, that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him. And he went in, and Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for an handmaid. Handmaid. Because that's weird, isn't it? It's not saying giving Leah in mistake of a wife. It's like him saying, "Oh, Leah, just go in and help out and maybe clean the room up," and then there was some wicka wicka wow, and it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? You did the wicka wicka wow. Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. Maybe it's like karma, saying, hey, you stuffed your brother over, here's your penance. And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her maid. So did he go wicka wicka wah with this other one, Bilhah? And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, wow, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. So what's Reuben mean? Reuben meaning name. Reuben is the first. Yeah, but what's the meaning? Behold a son. To see. Hey, look. A boy. So that's what it means. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. I probably spelt that wrong. Yep. He has heard. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now, this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name called Levi. So Levi means joined, attached. So it's like a fixing of the marriage, I guess. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. So Judah's probably like faith or something. Name meaning reclaimed hope and faith, or Judah, probably from yada, meaning praise. Okay. And that's it for tonight. Thanks for listening. Bye. This is the Quran, page 14, start of the divorce, in the middle of the divorce section. So, if you divorce them before you have touched them, but after you had set the dowry for them, give them half of what you specified, unless they forego the right, or the one in whose hand is the marriage contract forgoes it. But to forgo is nearer to piety. And do not forget generosity between one another. Allah is seen of everything you do. Guard your prayers and the middle prayer, and stand before Allah in devotion. But if you are in fear, then on foot or riding, and when you are safe, remember Allah. He taught you what you did not know. Those of you who die and leave wives behind, a will shall provide their wives with support for a year, provided they did not leave. If they leave, you are not to blame for what they do with themselves, provided it is reasonable. Allah is mighty and wise. And divorced women shall be provided for equitably, a duty upon the righteous. Allah thus explains his revelations to you, so that you may understand. Have you not considered those who fled their homes by the thousands, fearful of death? Allah said to them, Die. Then he revived them. Allah is gracious towards the people, but most people are not appreciative. Fight in the cause of Allah, and know that Allah is hearing and knowing. Who is he who will offer Allah a generous loan, so he will multiply it for him manifold? Allah receives and amplifies, and to him you will be returned. Have you not considered the notables of the children of Israel after Moses, when they said to a prophet of theirs, Appoint a king for us, and we will fight in the cause of Allah? He said, Is it possible that if fighting was ordained for you, you would not fight? They said, Why would we not fight in the cause of Allah, when we were driven out of our homes, along with our children? But when fighting was ordained for them, they turned away, except for a few of them. But Allah is aware of the wrongdoers. Their prophet said to them, Allah has appointed Saul to be your king. They said, How can he have authority over us, when we are more worthy of authority than he? And he was not given plenty of wealth. He said, Allah has chosen him over you, and has increased him in knowledge and stature. Allah bestows his sovereignty upon whomever he wills. Allah is embracing and knowing. And their prophet said to them, The proof of his kinship is that the ark will be restored to you, bringing tranquility from your Lord, and relics left by the family of Moses and the family of Aaron. It will be carried by the angels. In that is a sign for you, if you are believers. I'll finish the page at least. When Saul set out with the troops, he said, Allah will be testing you with a river. Whoever drinks from it does not belong with me, but whoever does not drink from it does belong with me, except for whoever scoops up a little with his hand. But they drank from it, except for a few of them. Then, when he crossed it, he and those who believed with him, they said, We have no strength to face Goliath and his troops today. But those who knew that they would meet Allah said, How many a small group has defeated a large group by Allah's will? Allah is with the steadfast. And when they confronted Goliath and his troop, they said, Our Lord poured down patience on us, and strengthen our foothold, and support us against the faithless people. And they defeated them by Allah's leave. And David killed Goliath, and Allah gave him sovereignty and wisdom, and taught him as he willed. Were it not for Allah restraining the people, some by means of others, the earth would have gone to ruin. But Allah is gracious towards mankind. These are Allah's revelations, which we recite to you in truth. You are one of the messengers. These messengers we gave some advantage over others. To some of them Allah spoke directly, and some he raised in rank. These still messengers from David's time. We gave Jesus, son of Mary, the clear miracles, and we strengthened him with the Holy Spirit. Had Allah willed, those who succeeded them would not have fought one another, after the clear signs had come to them. But they disputed. Some of them believed, and some of them disbelieved. Had Allah willed, they would not have fought one another, but Allah does whatever he desires. O you who believe, spend from what we have given you, before a day comes in which there is neither trading nor friendship nor intercession. The disbelievers are the wrongdoers. Allah, there is no God except He, the living, the everlasting, neither slumber overtakes him nor sleep. To him belongs everything in the heavens and everything on earth. Who is he that can intercede with him except with his permission? He knows what is before them and what is behind them, and they cannot grasp any of his knowledge except as he wills. His throne extends over the heavens and the earth, and their preservation does not burden him. He is the Most High, the Great. And there shall be no compulsion in religion. The right way has become distinct from the wrong way. Whoever renounces evil and believes in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handle, which does not break. Allah is hearing and knowing. Allah is the Lord of those who believe. He brings them out of darkness and into light. As for those who disbelieve, their lords are the evil ones. They bring them out of light and into darkness. These are the inmates of the fire, in which they will abide forever. Forever and ever. Have you not considered him who argued with Abraham about his Lord, because Allah had given him sovereignty? Abraham said, "My Lord is he who gives life and causes death." He said, "I give life and cause death." Abraham said, "Allah brings the sun from the east, so bring it from the west." So the blasphemer was confounded. Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people. What are you doing? You want to come up? You want to come up? You're a good girl. Here we go. Sniff, sniffle. Hmm? You want to sniff this? Doesn't smell good. Or like him who passed by a town, collapsed on its foundations. He said, "How can Allah revive this after its demise?" Thereafter Allah caused him to die for 100 years, and then resurrected him. He said, "For how long have you tarried?" He said, "I have tarried for a day." "A part of a day." He said, "No, you have tarried for 100 years. Now look at your food and your drink. It has not spoiled. And look at your donkey. We will make you a wonder for mankind. And look at the bones, how we arrange them, and then clothe them with flesh." So when it became clear to him, he said, "I know that Allah has power over all things." Who is this? Is this the disbeliever? Or like him who passed by a town, collapsed on its foundations? Oh, this is another person. Or like him. Are they referring back to the Torah, maybe? They did say Jesus. Maybe it is in the Bible. I don't know. We haven't got that far yet. And when Abraham said, now they're back to the Torah, "My Lord, show me how you give life to the dead." He said, "Have you not believed?" He said, "Yes, but to put my heart at ease." He said, "Take 4 birds and incline them to yourself, then place a part on each hill. Then call to them, and they will come rushing to you, and know that Allah is powerful and wise." The parable of those who spend their wealth in Allah's way is that of a grain that produces 7 spikes. In each spike is 100 grains. Allah multiplies for whom He wills. Allah is bounteous, and knowing. Those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah and then do not follow up what they spent with reminders of their generosity or with insults will have their reward with their Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor shall they grieve. Oh, spend the wealth in the way of Allah. Okay. That was a bit of an oxymoron, but it's not. I just read it wrong. Lick monster, aren't you? Kind words and forgiveness are better than charity followed by insults. Allah is rich and clement. O you who believe, do not nullify your charitable deeds with reminders and hurtful words, like him who spends his wealth to be seen by the people, and does not believe in Allah and the last day. His likeness is that of a smooth rock covered with soil. A downpour strikes it and leaves it bare. They gain nothing from their efforts. Allah does not guide the disbelieving people. And the parable of those who spend their wealth seeking Allah's approval and to strengthen their souls is that of a garden on a hillside. If heavy rain falls on it, its produce is doubled, and if no heavy rain falls, then dew is enough. Allah is seeing of everything you do. Would any one of you like to have a garden of palms and vines, under which rivers flow, with all kinds of fruit in it for him? An old age has stricken him, and he has weak children. Then a tornado with fire batters it, and it burns down. Question. Thus Allah makes clear the signs for you, so that you may reflect. O you who believe, give of the good things you have earned, and from what we have produced for you from the earth, and do not pick the inferior things to give away, when you yourselves would not accept it, except with eyes closed, and know that Allah is sufficient and praiseworthy. Satan promises you poverty and urges you to immorality. What? That's different. Christian faith, it's like Satan's like greedy. I don't understand that. Maybe it's like a fear thing saying, hey, you'll be poor if you follow Satan. But Allah promises you forgiveness from himself and grace. Allah is embracing and knowing. Maybe it's just all metaphorical. Don't know. He gives wisdom to whomever he wills. Whoever is given wisdom has been given much good, but none pays heed except those with insight. Whatever charity you give, or a pledge you fulfill, Allah knows it. The wrongdoers have no helpers. If you give charity openly, that is good, but if you keep it secret and give it to the needy in private, that is better for you. It will atone for some of your misdeeds. Allah is cognizant. Allah is cognizant of what you do. Their guidance is not your responsibility, but Allah guides whom He wills. Any charity you give is for your own good. Any charity you give shall be for the sake of Allah. Any charity you give will be repaid to you in full, and you will not be wronged. It is for the poor, those who are restrained in the way of Allah and unable to travel in the land. The unaware would think them rich due to their dignity. You will consider what? What's wrong? Nope. Ellie. Got half you on the screen. There we go. You're a movie star. Aren't you? Don't know how to clip it there. It's going to fall off. You're a good girl. You will recognize them by their features. They do not ask from people insistently. Whatever charity you give, Allah is aware of. Those who spend their wealth by night and day, privately and publicly, will receive their reward from their Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor shall they grieve. Those who swallow unsurely will not rise, except as someone driven mad by Satan's touch. That is because they say, commerce is like an usury. How do you say that word? Usury.
Usury.
Usury. The practice of lending money and charging the borrower interest. That's a bank. I've lost the spot. Those who spend their wealth by night and day, privately and publicly, will receive their reward from their Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor shall they grieve. Those who swallow usury, I've forgotten already, will not rise except as someone driven mad by Satan's touch. That is because they say commerce is like, there it is again, usury. I'm not going mad, there is two there. But Allah has permitted commerce and has forbidden, third time. But Allah has permitted commerce and has forbidden usury. Usury? Usury. Was there more to that? Because that sounds like you can't even have banks in a Islamic society. Lending money and charging the borrower interest, especially at an exorbitant or illegally high rate. Especially. An excessive or illegally high rate of interest. Oh, okay. So it's like basically what Australia became after COVID with high interest rates. A premium or increased paid. Some parts of the world have high at the moment, I think. High interest rate countries. 2025. What we got? Can't even read that. It's so tiny. $6.4. It's not too crazy. Real interest rates. Minus 3%. Real cost of borrowing. What? Was green mean? No, that doesn't look right. It looks like a bunch of baloney. Countries with a higher 1999, that's a long time ago. 75% for Turkey. Poor Turkish. Uruguay, 22. I didn't know Uruguay had bad interest rates at the time. High. 30% interest rates. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Brazil, 14. Russia, 20. Argentina, 29. Still going heavy. 46 in Turkey. Holy truth. Anyway. Where were we? Commerce is like usury. But Allah has permitted commerce and has forbidden. I've forgotten. How? Is that how you spelled it? That's not pronounced.
Usury.
Usury. Usury, usury, usury.
Usury.
Usury. Usury, here we go. Commerce is like usury. But Allah has permitted commerce and has forbidden usury. Whoever, on receiving advice from his Lord, refrains may keep his past earnings and his case rests with Allah. But whoever resumes, these are the dwellers of the fire, wherein they will abide forever. Allah condemns usury, and he blesses charities. Allah does not love any sinful ingrate. Sinful ingrate. Those who believe and do good deeds and pray regularly and give charity, they will have their reward with their Lord. They will have no fear, nor shall they grieve. O you who believe, fear Allah, and forgo what remains of usury, if you are believers. If you do not, then take notice of a war by Allah and His Messenger. But if you repent, you may keep your capital, neither wronging nor being wronged. But if he is in hardship, then deferment until a time of ease. But to remit it as charity is better for you, if you only knew. And guard yourselves against the day when you will be returned to Allah. Then each soul will be rewarded fully for what it has earned, and they will not be wronged. O you who believe, when you incur debt among yourselves, for a certain period of time write it down, and have a scribe write in your presence, in all fairness, and let no scribe refuse to write, as Allah has taught him. So let him write, and let the debtor dictate, and let him fear Allah, his Lord, and diminish nothing from it. But if the debtor is mentally deficient, or weak, or unable to dictate, then let his guardian dictate with honesty, and call to witness 2 men from among you. If 2 men are not available, then 1 man and 2 women, whose testimony is acceptable to all. If one of them fails to remember, the other would remind her. Witnesses is just sexist. It's just like, what, 2 men, one man, 2 women, and it's her when it's a mistake. Always? Why didn't it stay with them instead of her? I don't know. Anyway, witnesses must not refuse when called upon. Do not think it too trivial to write down, whether small or large, including the time of repayment. That is more equitable with Allah, the stronger as evidence and more likely to prevent doubt, except in the case of a spot transaction between you. Then there is no blame on you if you do not write it down. And let there be witnesses whenever you conclude a contract, and let no harm be done to either scribe or witness. If you do that, it is corruption on your part, and fear Allah. Allah teaches you, Allah is aware of everything. If you are on a journey and cannot find a scribe, then a security deposit should be handed over. But if you trust one another, let the trustee fulfill his trust, and let him fear Allah, his Lord. And do not conceal testimony. Whoever conceals it is sinner at heart. Allah is aware of what you do. To Allah belongs everything in the heavens and the earth. Whether you reveal what is within yourselves or conceal it, Allah will call you to account for it. He forgives whom He wills, and He punishes whom He wills. Allah is able to do all things. The messenger has believed in what was revealed to him from his Lord, as did the believers. They all have believed in Allah, and His angels, and His scriptures, and His messengers. We make no distinction between any of His messengers. And they say, we hear and we obey. Your forgiveness, our Lord, to you is the destiny. Allah does not burden any soul beyond its capacity. To its credit is what it earns, and against it is what it commits. I might have said it too many times. O Lord, do not condemn us if we forget or make a mistake. Please, our Lord, do not burden us as you burden those before us. Our Lord, do not burden us with more than we have strength to bear, and pardon us and forgive us, please,
and have mercy on us. You are our Lord and Master, so help us against the disbelieving people. I'll leave it there for tonight, but you might have noticed I didn't really want to start reading this tonight, but yeah, I find reading aloud, it's a positive. Brings some happiness. Anyway, alright. Next up, Canterbury Tales. Last time we finished off the introduction descriptions of each of the characters. Now onto the prologue. Now have I told you briefly in a clause the state and array, the number and the cause of the assembling of this company in Southwark at this noble hostelry, known as the Tabard Inn, hard by the Bell. But now the time is come wherein to tell how all we bore ourselves that very night, when at the hostelry, I think, we did alight, and afterward the story I engage, to tell you of our common pilgrimage. But first I pray you, of your courtesy, you'll not ascribe it to vulgarity, though I speak plainly of this matter here, retailing you their words and means of cheer, nor though I use their very terms nor lie, for this thing do you know as well as I. When one repeats a tale told by a man, he must report as nearly as he can every least word, if he remember it, however rude it be, or how unfit. Or else he may be telling what's untrue, embellishing and fictionizing too. That's interesting. So you've got to be, you got to leave the profanities in if you want to be factual as a reporter. He may not spare, although it were his brother. He must as well say one word as another. Christ spoke right broadly out in Holy Writ, and you know well there's nothing low in it. And Plato says to those able to read, the word should be the cousin to the deed. Also I pray that you'll forgive it me, if I have not set folk in their degree. Here in this tale, by rank as they should stand, my wits are not the best, you'll understand. Great cheer our host gave to us every one, and to the supper set us all anon, and served us then with victuals of the best. Strong was the wine and pleasant to each guest. A seemly man our good host was, withal, fit to have been a marshal in some hall. He was a large man with protruding eyes, as fine a burgher as in Cheapside lies, bold in his speech, and wise and right well taught, and as to manhood lacking therein naught. Also he was a very merry man, and after meat at playing he began, speaking of mirth among some other things, when all of us had paid our reckonings, and saying thus, now masters, verily, you are all welcome here, and heartily, for by my truth, and telling you no lie, I have not seen this year a company here in this inn fitter for sport than now. Fain would I make you happy, knew I how. And of a game have I this moment thought, to give you joy, and it shall cost you naught. You go to Canterbury, may God speed, and the blessed martyr soon requite your meed. And well I know, as you go on your way, you'll tell good tales, and shape yourselves to play. For truly there's no mirth, nor comfort none, riding the roads as dumb as is a stone, and therefore will I furnish you a sport, as I just said, to give you some comfort. And if you like it, all by one assent, and will be ruled by me of my judgment, and will so do as I'll proceed to say tomorrow when you ride upon your way. Then by my father's spirit, who is dead, if you're not gay, I'll give you up my head. Hold up your hands, no more about it speak. Our full assenting was not far to seek. We thought there was no reason to think twice, and granted him his way without advice, and bade him tell his verdict just and wise. Masters, quoth he, here now is my advice. But take it not, I pray you, in disdain. This is the point, to put it short and plain, that each of you, beguiling the long day, shall tell 2 stories as you wend your way to Canterbury town, and each of you, on coming home, shall tell another 2, all of adventures he has known before, and he who plays his part the best of all, that is to say, who tells upon the road tales the best sense, in most amusing mode, shall have a supper at the other's cost, here in this room and sitting by this post. When we come back again from Canterbury, and now the more to warrant you'll be merry, I will myself and gladly with you ride, at my own cost, and I will be your guide. But whosoever shall my rule gainsay, shall pay for all that's bought along the way. And if you are agreed that it be so, tell me at once, or if not, tell me no, and I will act accordingly, no more. This thing was granted, and our oaths we swore, with right glad hearts, and prayed of him also, that he would take the office, nor forego the place of governor of all of us, judging our tales, and by his wisdom thus. What? Okay? Taking up most of the chair. Gotta sit on the edge. Arrange that supper at a certain price, we to be ruled each one by his advice. In things both great and small, by one assent, we stood committed to his government, and thereupon the wine was fetched anon. We drank, and then to rest went every one, and that without a longer tarrying. Next morning, when the day began to spring, up rose our host, and acting as our cook, he gathered us together in a flock, and forth we rode, a jog-trot being the pace, until we reached St. Thomas's watering place. And there, our host pulled horse up to a walk, and said, now, masters, listen while I talk. You know what you agreed at set of sun, if even song and morning song are one. Let's here decide who first shall tell a tale, and as I hope to drink more wine and ale, whoso proves rebel to my government shall pay for all that by the way is spent. Come now, draw cuts before we farther win, and he that draws the shortest shall begin. Sir Knight, said he, my master and my lord, you shall draw first, as you have pledged your word. Come near, quoth he, my lady prioress, and you, sir clerk, put by your bashfulness, nor ponder more, out hands flow every man. At once to draw a cut each one began, and to make short the matter, as it was, whether by chance or whatsoever cause, the truth is that the cut fell to the knight, at which right happy then was every wight. Thus that his story first of all he'd tell, according to the compact it befell. As you have heard, why argue to and fro? And when this good man saw that it was so, being a wise man and obedient to plighted word given by free assent, he slid. Since I must then begin the game, why welcome be the cut, and in God's name. Now let us ride, and hearken what I say. And at that word we rode forth on our way, and he began to speak with right good cheer, his tale anon, as it is written here. Here ends the prologue of this book, and here begins the first tale, which is The Knight's Tale. And I'll start that one next time, The Knight's Tale. Thanks for listening.
Well, next up, Sherlock Holmes, A Study in Scarlet, Chapter 4. What John Rance had to tell. It was 1 o'clock when we left number 3, Lauriston Gardens. Sherlock Holmes led me to the nearest telegraph office, whence he dispatched a long telegram. He then hailed a cab and ordered the driver to take us to the address given us by Lestrade. There is nothing like first-hand evidence, he remarked. As a matter of fact, my mind is entirely made up upon the case, but still we may as well learn all that it is to be learned. You amaze me, Holmes, said I. Surely you are not as sure as you pretend to be of all those particulars which you gave. There's no room for a mistake, he answered. The very first thing which I observed on arriving there was that a cab had made 2 ruts with its wheels close to the curb. Now, up till last night, we have had no rain for a week, so that those wheels which left such a deep impression must have been there during the night. There were the marks of the horses' hooves, too, the outline of one of which was far more clearly cut than that of the other 3, showing that there was a new shoe, since the cab was there after the rain began, and was not there at any time during the morning. I have Gregson's word for it that it follows that it must have been there during the night, and therefore that it brought those 2 individuals to the house. That seems simple enough, said I, but how about the other man's height? Why, the height of a man, in 9 cases out of 10, can be told from the length of his stride. It is a simple calculation enough, though there is no use my boring you with figures. I had this fellow's stride both on the clay outside and on the dust within. Then I had a way of checking my calculation. When a man writes on a wall, his instinct leads him to write about the level of his own eyes. Now that writing was just over 6 feet from the ground. It was child's play. And his age, I asked? Well, if a man can stride 4.5 feet without the smallest effort, he can't be quite in the Syrian yellow. That was the breadth of a puddle on the garden walk, which he had evidently walked across. Patent leather boots had gone round, and square toes had hopped over. There is no mystery about it at all. I'm simply applying to ordinary life a few of those precepts of observation and deduction which I advocate in that article. Is there anything else that puzzles you? The fingernails and the trichinopoly, I suggested. Gotta look that one up. Oh yeah, I can't remember that. What was it? Oh no. I'm gonna have to remember this. Trichinopoly. Trichinopoly. District was a district of the erstwhile Madras Presidency of British India. It covered the present-day districts of those names I can't even pronounce in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Well, Tamil's the south, isn't it? Let's have a look. southeast of India. Okie dokie. The writing on the wall was done with a man's forefinger dipped in blood. My glass allowed me to observe that the plaster was slightly scratched in doing it, which would not have been the case if the man's nail had been trimmed. I gathered up some scattered ash from the floor. It was dark in colour and flaky, such as ash as is only made by the Trichinopoli. I have made a special study of cigar ashes. In fact, I have written a monograph upon the subject. I flatter myself that I can distinguish at a glance the ash of any known brand, either of cigar or of tobacco. It is just in such details that the skilled detective differs from the Gregson and Lestrade type. And the florid face, I asked. That was a more daring shot, though I have no doubt that I was right. You must not ask me that at the present state of the affair. I passed my hand over my brow. My head is in a whirl, I remarked. The more one thinks of it, the more mysterious it grows. How came these two men, if there were two men, into an empty house? What has become of the cabman who drove them? How could one man compel another to take poison? Where did the blood come from? What was the object of the murderer, since robbery had no part in it? How came the woman's ring there? Above all, why should the second man write up the German word rush before decamping? I confess that I cannot see any possible way of reconciling all these facts. My companion smiled approvingly. You sum up the difficulties of the situation succinctly and well, he said. There is much that is still obscure, though I have quite made up my mind on the main facts. As to poor Lestrade's discovery, it was simply a blind intended to put the police upon a wrong track by suggesting socialism and secret societies. It was not done by a German. The A, if you noticed, was printed somewhat after the German fashion. Now, a real German invariably prints in the Latin character, so that we may safely say that this was not written by one, but by a clumsy imitator who overdid his part. It was simply a ruse to divert inquiry into a wrong channel. I'm not going to tell you much more of the case, Doctor. You know a conjurer gets no credit when once he has explained his trick, and if I show you too much of my method of working, you will come to the conclusion that I am a very ordinary individual after all. I shall never do that, I answered. You have brought detection as near an exact science as it ever will be brought in this world. My companion flushed up with pleasure at my words and the earnest way in which I uttered them. I had already observed that he was as sensitive to flattery on the score of his arts as any girl could be of her beauty. I didn't know that about Sherlock. In the movies, he seems more, what the word is, carefree, doesn't care what others say about it. I'll tell you one other thing, he said. Patent Leather and Square Toes came in the same cab, and they walked down the pathway together, as friendly as possible, arm in arm, in all probability. When they got inside, they walked up and down the room, or rather, Patent Leathers stood still while Square Toes walked up and down. I could read all that in the dust, and I could read that as he walked, he grew more and more excited. That is shown by the increased length of his strides. He was walking all the while, and working himself up, no doubt, into a fury. Then the tragedy occurred. I've told you all I know myself now, for the rest is mere surmise and conjecture. We have a good working basis, however, on which to start. We must hurry up, for I want to go to Hales Court, to hear Norman Neruda this afternoon, or Neruda. This conversation had occurred while our cab had been threading its way through a long succession of dingy streets and dreary byways. In the dingiest and dreariest of them, our driver suddenly came to a stand. "That's Audley Court in there," he said, pointing to a narrow slit in the line of dead-coloured brick. "You'll find me here when you come back." Audley Court was not an attractive locality. The narrow passage led us into a quadrangle paved with flags and lined by sordid dwellings. We picked our way among groups of dirty children and through lines of discoloured linen until we came to number 46, the door of which was decorated with a small slip of brass on which the name Rance was engraved. On inquiry, we found that the constable was in bed, and we were shown into a little front parlour to await his coming. He appeared presently, looking a little irritable at being disturbed in his slumbers. "I made my report at the office," he said. Holmes took a half-sovereign from his pocket and played with it pensively. "We thought that we should like to hear it all from your own lips," he said. "I shall be most happy to tell you anything I can," the constable answered, with his eyes upon the little golden disc. "Just let us hear it all in your own way, as it occurred." Rance sat down on the horsehair sofa and knitted his brows as though determined not to omit anything in his narrative. "I'll tell it ye from the beginning," he said. "My time is from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. At 11 there was a fight at the White Hart, but bar that all was quiet enough on the beat. At 1 o'clock it began to rain, and I met Harry Murcher, him who has the Holland Grove beat, and we stood together at the corner of Henrietta Street a-talkin'. Presently, maybe about 2 or a little after, I thought I would take a look around and see that all was right down the Brixton Road. It was precious dirty and lonely. Not a soul did I meet all the way down, though a cab or two went past me. I was strolling down, thinking between ourselves how uncommon handy a 4 of gin hot would be, when suddenly a glint of light caught my eye in the window of that same house. Now, I knew that them 2 houses in Lauriston Gardens was empty on account of him that owns them, who won't have the drains seed to, though the very last tenant, what lived in one of them, died of typhoid fever. I was knocked all in a heap, therefore, at seeing a light in the window, and I suspected as something was wrong. When I got to the door, you stopped, and then walked back to the garden gate," my companion interrupted. "What did you do that for?" Rance gave a violent jump and stared at Sherlock Holmes, with the utmost amazement upon his features. "Why, that's true, sir," he said, "though how you come to know it, heaven only knows. You see, when I got up to the door, it was so still and so lonesome that I thought I'd be none the worse for some one with me. I ain't afeard of anything on this side of the grave, but I thought that maybe it was him that died of the typhoid inspecting the drains what killed him. The thought gave me a kind of turn, and I walked back to the gate to see if I could see Murcher's lantern. But there wasn't no sign of him nor of anyone else. There was no one in the street, not a living soul, sir." Oh, sorry. Sherlock says there was no one in the street, and the cop says, "Not a living soul, sir, nor as much as a dog." Then I pulled myself together and went back and pushed the door open. All was quiet inside, so I went into the room where the light was a-burning. There was a candle flickering on the mantelpiece, a red wax one, and by its light I saw— Yes, I know what you saw. You walked round the room several times, and you knelt down by the body, and then you walked through and tried the kitchen door, and then Rance sprang to his feet with a frightened face and suspicion in his eyes. "Where was you hid
to all that, he cried. It seems to me that you knows a more deal than you should. Holmes laughed and threw his card across the table to the constable. Don't get arresting me for the murder, he said. I am one of the hounds and not the wolf. Mr. Gregson or Mr. Lestrade will answer for that. Go on, though. What did you do next? Rance resumed his seat without, however, losing his mystified expression. I went back to the gate and sounded my whistle. That brought Murcher and 2 more to the spot. Was the street empty then? Well, it was, as far as anybody that could be of any good goes. What do you mean? The constable's features broadened into a grin. I've seen many a drunk chap in my time, he said, but never anyone so crying drunk as that cove. He was at the gate when I came out, a-leaning up again the railings and a-singing at the pitch of his lungs about Columbine's new-fangled banner, or some such stuff. He couldn't stand far less help. What sort of a man was he? Asked Sherlock Holmes. John Rance appeared to be somewhat irritated at this digression. He was an uncommon drunk sort of man. He was an uncommon sort of man. No, he was an uncommon drunk sort of man, he said. He'd have found himself in the station if we hadn't been so took up. His face, his dress, didn't you notice them? Holmes broke in impatiently. I should think I did notice them, seeing that I had to prop him up, me and Murcher between us. He was a long chap, with a red face, the lower part muffled round. That will do, cried Holmes. What became of him? We'd enough to do without looking after him, the policeman said in an aggrieved voice. I'll wager he found his way home all right. How was he dressed? A brown overcoat. Had he a whip in his hand? A whip? No. He must have left it behind, muttered my companion. You didn't happen to see or hear a cab after that? No. There's a half-sovereign for you, my companion said, standing up and taking his hat. I am afraid, Rance, that you will never rise in the force. That head of yours should be for use as well as ornament. You might have gained your sergeant's stripes last night. The man whom you held in your hands is the man who holds the clue of this mystery, and whom we are seeking. There is no use of arguing about it now. I tell you that it is so. Come along, Doctor. We started off for the cab together, leaving our informant incredulous, but obviously uncomfortable. The blundering fool, Holmes said bitterly, as we drove back to our lodgings. Just to think of his having such an incomparable bit of good luck and not taking advantage of it. I am rather in the dark still. It is true that the description of this man tallies with your idea of the second party in this mystery, but why should he come back to the house after leaving it? That is not the way of criminals. The ring, man, the ring. That was what he came back for. If we have no other way of catching him, we can always bait our line with the ring. I shall have him, Doctor. I'll lay you 2 to 1 that I have him. I must thank you for it all. I might not have gone but for you, and so have missed the finest study I've ever came across. A study in Scarlet, eh? Why, shouldn't we use a little art jargon? There's the scarlet thread of murder running through the colourless skin of life, and our duty is to unravel it and isolate it and expose every inch of it. And now for lunch, and then for Norman Neruda. Her attack and her bowing are splendid. What's that little thing of Chopin's she plays so magnificently? Tra-la-la, lira-lira-lay. Leaning back in the cab, this amateur bloodhound growled away like a lark while I meditated upon the many-sidedness of the human mind. That's chapter 4. That's it for tonight. Thanks for listening. Bye. We're back to Robert E. Howard's The Tower of the Elephant. So last it said, "Follow me," whispered Taurus. "Keep behind me as you value your life." This is their they're trying to. Conan found a guy who's also trying to steal something from the. Was it a jewel? I can't remember. Anyway, here we go. Taking what looked like a copper tube from his girdle, the Numidian dropped lightly to the sword inside the wall. Conan was close behind him, sword ready, but Taurus pushed him back close to the wall and showed no inclination to advance himself. His whole attitude was of tense expectancy, and his gaze, like Conan's, was fixed on the shadowy mass of shrubbery a few yards away. The shrubbery was shaken, although the breeze had died down. Then 2 great eyes blazed from the waving shadows, and behind them other sparks of fire glinted in the darkness. "Lions," muttered Conan. "Aye. By day they are kept in subterranean caverns below the tower. That's why there are no guards in this garden." Conan counted the eyes rapidly. 5 in sight, maybe more back in the bushes. "They'll charge in any Be silent," hissed Taurus, and he moved out from the wall, cautiously, as if treading on razors. Lifting the slender tube, low rumblings rose from the shadows, and the blazing eyes moved forward. Conan could sense the great slavering jaws, the tuft tails lashing tawny sides. The air grew tense. The Cimmerian gripped his sword, expecting the charge and the irresistible hurtling of giant bodies. Then Taurus brought the mouth of the tube to his lips and blew powerfully. A long jet of yellowish powder shot from the other end of the tube and billowed out instantly in a thick green-yellow cloud that settled over the shrubbery, blotted out the glaring eyes. Taurus ran back hastily to the wall. Conan glared without understanding. The thick cloud hid the shrubbery, and from it no sound came. "What is that mist?" the Cimmerian asked uneasily. "Death," hissed the Numidian. "If a wind springs up and blows it back upon us, we must flee over the wall. But no, the wind is still, and now it is dissipating. Wait until it vanishes entirely. To breathe it is death." Presently, only yellowish shreds hung ghostily in the air. Then they were gone, and Taurus motioned his companion forward. They stole toward the bushes, and Conan gasped. Stretched out in the shadows lay 5 great tawny shapes. The fire of their grim eyes dimmed forever. The sweetish, cloying scent lingered in the atmosphere. "They died without a sound," muttered the Cimmerian. "Taurus, what was that powder?" "It was made from the black lotus, whose blossoms wave in the lost jungles of Chittai, where only the yellow-skulled priests of Yun dwell. Those blossoms strike dead any who smell of them." Conan knelt beside the great forms, assuring himself that they were indeed beyond power of harm. He shook his head. The magic of the exotic lands was mysterious and terrible to the barbarians of the north. "Why can you not slay the soldiers in the tower in the same way?" he asked. "Because that was all the powder I possessed. The obtaining of it was a feat which in itself was enough to make me famous among the thieves of the world. I stole it out of a caravan bound for Stygia, and I lifted it, in its cloth of gold bag, out of the coils of the great serpent which guarded it, without awaking him. But come, in Bel's name, are we to waste the night in discussion?" They glided through the shrubbery to the gleaming foot of the tower, and there, with emotion enjoining silence, Taurus unwound his knotted cord, on one end of which was a strong steel hook. Conan saw his plan and asked no questions as the Numidian gripped the line a short distance below the hook and began to swing it about his head. Conan laid his ear to the smooth wall and listened, but could hear nothing.
Evidently the soldiers within did not suspect the presence of intruders, who had made no more sound than the night wind blowing through the trees. But a strange nervousness was on the barbarian. Perhaps it was the lion's smell, which was over everything. Taurus threw the line with a smooth, ripping motion of his mighty arm. The hook curved upward and inward in a peculiar manner, hard to describe, and vanished over the jewelled rim. It apparently caught firmly, for cautious jerking and then hard pulling did not result in any slipping or giving. "Luck the first cast," murmured Taurus. It was Conan's savage instinct which made him wheel suddenly, for the death that was upon them made no sound. A fleeting glimpse showed the Cimmerian the giant tawny shape, rearing upright against the stars, towering over him for the death stroke. No civilized man could have moved half so quickly as the barbarian moved. His sword flashed frostily in the starlight, with every ounce of desperate nerve and thew behind it. And man and beast went down together. Cursing incoherently beneath his breath, Taurus bent above the mass and saw his companion's limbs move as he strove to drag himself from under the great weight that lay limply upon him. A glance showed the startling Numidian that the lion was dead, its slanting skull split in half. He laid hold of the carcass, and by his aid, Conan thrust it aside and clambered up, still gripping his dripping sword. "Are you hurt, man?" gasped Taurus, still bewildered by the stunning swiftness of that touch-and-go episode. "No, by Crom," answered the barbarian, "but that was as close a call as I've had in a life no ways tame. Why did not the cursed beast roar as he charged?" "All things are strange in this garden," said Taurus. "The lion strikes silently, and so do other deaths. But come, little sound was made in that slaying, but the soldiers might have heard, if they are not asleep or drunk. That beast was in some other part of the garden, and escaped the death of the flowers. But surely there are no more. We must climb this cord. Little need to ask the Cimmerian if he can." "If it will bear my weight," grunted Conan, glancing his sword on the grass. "It will bear thrice my own," answered Taurus. "It was woven from the tresses of dead women, which I took from their tombs at midnight, and steeped in the deadly wine of the upas tree, to give it strength. I will go first, then follow me closely." What is tresses? Let's have a look. Might be hair. A long lock of ringlet of hair, plaited or braided. Okay, so it's probably braided hair. Okie dokie. The Numidian gripped the rope, and crooking a knee about it, began the ascent. He went up like a cat, belying the apparent clumsiness of his bulk. The Cimmerian followed. The cord swayed and turned on itself, but the climbers were not hindered. Both had made more difficult climbs before. The jewelled rim glittered high above them, jutting out from the perpendicular of the wall, so that the cord hung perhaps a foot from the side of the tower, a fact which added greatly to the ease of the ascent. Up and up they went, silently, the lights of the city spreading out further and further to their sight as they climbed, the stars above them more and more dimmed by the glitter of the jewels along the rim. Now Taurus reached up a hand and gripped the rim itself, pulling himself up and over. Conan paused a moment on the very edge, fascinated by the great frosty jewels whose gleams dazzled his eyes. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, turquoises, moonstones, set thick as stars in the shimmering silver. At a distance, their different gleams had seemed to merge into a pulsing white glare, but now, at close range, they shimmered with a million rainbow tints of lights, hypnotizing him were their scintillations. "There is a fabulous fortune here, Taurus," he whispered, but the Numidian answered impatiently, "Come on. If we secure the heart, these and all other things shall be ours." Conan climbed over the sparkling rim. The level of the tower's top was some feet below the gemmed ledge. It was flat, composed of some dark blue substance, set with gold that caught the starlight, so that the whole looked like a wide sapphire flecked with shining gold dust. Across from the point where they had entered there seemed to be a sort of chamber built upon the roof. It was of the same silvery material as the walls of the tower, adorned with designs worked in smaller gems. Its single door was of gold, its surface cut in scales, encrusted with jewels that gleamed like ice. Conan cast a glance at the pulsing ocean of lights which spread far below them, then glanced at Taurus. The Numidian was drawing up his cord and coiling it. He showed Conan where the hook had caught. A fraction of an inch of the point had sunk under a great blazing jewel on the inner side of the rim. "Luck was with us again," he muttered. "One would think that our combined weight would have torn that stone out. Follow me. The real risks of the venture begin now. We are in the serpent's lair, and we know not where he's hidden." I'll leave it there tonight. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.